Yo, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the Radar for Rasslin Studios.
What up, Mox?
Guys, Monday Night Raw just finished up. It's an interesting Monday Night Raw. We have a new WWE champion.
He's almighty.
And it is an almighty one. That's correct. The Miz's run has been very. It's been a joke. He's been a joke this entire time. We all knew this was going to happen, but we got what happened on Monday Night Raw. A couple other things going on. Some more supernatural stuff going on with Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss, and a couple things. We only have one takeaway from the show, so that's pretty much it. So we'll get into it. But before we do, I want to remind you guys, drop a like and a comment on this. What you guys think about Monday Night Raw? What you think about the new champion, WWE champion, the Miz's run? Are you upset the Miz lost? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Did you enjoy Raw? Not many people ever do, but if you enjoyed Raw, let me know. Just hit me in the comment section below. Like, grow in the community. Love hearing you guys' opinions on what's going on. What do you see happening at WrestleMania for the red brand? So let's get into it. Notification bell, obviously. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. All that good stuff. Social media. Let's get into it. Monday Night Raw started off with Drew McIntyre in the ring. He is out there obviously talking about what happened. You know, we didn't see him last week, so he's talking about what happened at Elimination Chamber, talking about Bobby Lashley, talking about the Miz. Miz interrupts. He's obviously upset with the Miz. So does Lashley. He says Miz has an hour until that match is going to happen. Lashley Miz for the WWE Championship. So the match is supposed to happen. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. The match does happen. It's a really good match. I really like this match. These guys work really, really well together. Some really good style clash. The way they mesh. Obviously, they worked for a long time.
Of course.
In Europe and stuff like that, so they have a lot of chemistry. They work really well together, and this was a really, really good match. Really enjoyed it. McIntyre gets the win. I think this feud should continue. To be honest with you, I don't think McIntyre should go after Lashley for the title at Mania. I know that's what's gonna happen, but I feel like Sheamus and McIntyre is a good feud.
But who else would you throw against Lashley? Like, you're not gonna throw Miz at him. There's not really anybody else but Drew.
I got somebody once we get to the Lashley portion who he should probably end up facing. All right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. This might be a Fastlane match too. Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, see who faces Lashley or something like that. That could happen. So that's what we got. And the Miz has an hour to show up and face Bobby Lashley for the title. Next thing on the show was Nia Jax versus Naomi. So they obviously have their tag team partners outside. They're waiting for that tag team match to happen because Naomi and Lana qualified for a #1 contendership.
Yep.
But that match still hasn't happened yet, and nobody really cares. So it kind of is what it is.
Not at all.
Naomi, Naomi got the win here, and that's pretty much it. It was nice and quick. And Nia Jax got the win here, nice and quick, and that was pretty much it. Terrible. And we'll see what happens with the tag team match coming for later on. Now, there's another terrible segment here. We have Braun Strowman coming out. He's upset of all the stuff that he feels like he's been slighted this entire time for the past few weeks. Not in the chamber match, all that stuff like that. So, he's upset, and he called. He does have a reason to. He comes out. He demands that Adam Pierce and Shane McMahon come to the ring. They come to the ring, and it's pretty obvious now that it seems like WrestleMania is gonna be Shane versus Braun, right?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, the match nobody really wants to see is a match we might end up getting. So Shane is like he's poking and prodding him, to get him like upset, and then he says that you're gonna have a tag team match. Shane McMahon does, and it's funny because it's Shane setting up a match for the tag team titles, so he's immediately getting a tag team title. Remember what happened at WrestleMania a few years back? I believe it was 34 when he won the tag team titles. Braun Strowman with Nicholas,
a random kid.
Yeah, so it was I think it was John Cone, the referee's son, and Nicholas. So he ends up setting up Adam Pierce and Braun Strowman against the Hurt Business tag team champions, and the only reason as to why the Hurt Business wins this match, it was a handicap match pretty much. And they got beat the living hell out of by Braun Strowman. So I think it's a disservice to Alexander and Benjamin as your tag team champions.
100%.
Yeah,
and even Her Business. I mean, Her Business gets to come up at the end of the night, but still, they shouldn't have been taken out the way they did. And Adam Pierce being in there was a joke to begin with. This didn't really hit for me. It was a miss. And if this is how they're going to lead Braun into Shane, they could have done something way better. This was really lazy.
Yeah, it really was. It was bad. And then you have Pierce costing the match is the only reason why Benjamin and Alexander win. So I think it's a disservice to the Hurt Business, but it's still upset. You have Braun upset with Shane. It's just all signs seem to point that Shane is going to be going against Strowman at WrestleMania.
And it's just because Shane's been back for a month, it just feels like pointless and really doesn't make any sense as to why Shane just shows up out of nowhere and all of a sudden he's the man on Raw. I know he's a McMahon, obviously, but just like Pierce has been like the authority figure, and now Shane just magically comes back and now he's already thrown into a picture with Strowman. Just feels just like we need a match. So here's Shane, do something. That's basically what it feels like.
It's exactly what it feels like. They just need to fill up the card. Next thing on the show, we had Elias with Jackson Riker versus Damian Priest with Bad Bunny. And Priest gets the win. It wasn't a really good match. The continuation of Elias just losing and losing and losing nonstop. Priest is being built up. We're going to see how this now. It looks like it's going to be Miz and Morrison versus Priest and Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. So, that seems to be where it's going.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's probably the 6-star match. So we'll see it going down. But yeah, it's just Riker and Elias really don't do much, and they're just kind of there. And Elias continues to drop and drop and drop and drop.
Yep.
So that
wasted.
So Priest gets the win, continues his rise up the card. WWE Championship match: The Miz versus Bobby Lashley. This match is supposed to happen. And the first matchup. So this is the first match supposed to happen at 9:00. Instead of it happening, The Miz kind of cowards his way out of it. He says he has a stomach ache because of the stress. And
all the sacrifices I went to get the title. The pain I've endured. People laughing at me. Probably laughing at me.
And then Bobby Lashley chases him down and attacks him and says, "You better be ready by 10:00." So that was the first matchup. The second matchup comes at 10:00 right now, and then you have them in the ring, and as soon as the bell rings, The Miz grabs his belt, runs, and gets counted out. So then Bobby Lashley's extremely upset, and Shane says that if he's contemplating stripping the title off of The Miz and giving it to Lashley. So The Miz has to answer the call. Then the next thing on the show, Charlotte comes out and she's talking about facing Asuka at WrestleMania, and then they show Asuka getting her teeth kicked out from last week, which was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then she gets interrupted by Shayna and Nia Jax. Shayna and Nia Jax come out. They talk to her trash. They beat her down before the match starts, 2-on-1, and then they come back, and like the match doesn't really take that long, and Charlotte ends up winning. So
yeah, again, just a weird flow. The whole night was weird. I guess the countdown to all these matches was throwing people, threw everything kind of off, and it just felt like every match had to be short because we got to get to this 20-minute segment that they keep pushing to. It was weird. It was a weird flow the whole night.
Yeah, they kept like, all right, Miz and Lashley, Miz and Lashley, Miz and Lashley, and everything else kind of suffers because of it. Yeah,
exactly. Everything else was like, oh, we got to make everything short because we got to fit this time. It's just, I get what they were doing, but it made the whole show just choppy as all hell.
Yeah. And then it seems like Rhea and Charlotte may be the match they might have at WrestleMania if it's not Asuka and Charlotte, because Rhea is coming to Monday Night Raw, so we could see that happen. I talked about that last week in the video I made last week. Next thing on the show is Retribution versus Riddle, Lucha House Party, and then it ended up being Mustafa Ali versus Riddle. Yeah, so Lucha House Party and Riddle defeated Retribution. Ali gets pissed off. He takes on Riddle on a 1-on-1. Ali gets the winner, so he pins the United States champion. So he may get a shot at the United States Championship, maybe at Fastlane. So we'll see what happens. Ali talking trash to his own members of Retribution, say to follow him, and you might become something one day. Not like Ali's become much in WWE. He hasn't done a whole lot. They haven't really pushed him that well. So we'll see what happens going after this. Most likely a U.S. title match. The next thing on the show, and it was the main event. Oh, let's talk about Randy Orton. I'm sorry, let's not skip Randy Orton.
We can't miss this thing. This thing was classic. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but it was awesome.
Randy is doing an interview backstage, talking about what happened the week prior when he spit out all that black stuff out of his mouth. He doesn't know what happened. So Alexa Bliss interrupts. She has like a little winding box that she talks to, and then all of a sudden you see a shrouded figure with a black hoodie walk. He unveils himself. It's Randy Orton. His eyes look kind of black, and then he has like a demonic voice, and he's talking through the screen to Randy Orton. So Randy Orton, demonic version, talking to the regular version of Randy Orton on the screen. And kind of like, it's real meta. Awesome. You know what I'm saying?
This doesn't end on your terms. Soon, you will confess.
It was wild. I was like, what the hell are we doing? But you know what? It was so nuts. I liked it. It was funny. It was just like ridiculous, and I actually enjoyed it. I was like, this is so dumb, but I don't know. It's the Fiend. It's Bray Wyatt. It's Firefly Funhouse. All that stuff is supposed to be weird, so it works in like that world. But it reminded me of Ghostbusters when Vigo the Carpathian is talking like out of the picture. That's what it reminded me the entire time. So it was cracking me up, but it was entertaining.
Yeah. So he starts choking again after he starts talking. He has to take off his hoodie because he can't breathe.
Because that's what you do when you're choking black and tar. You're just like, I gotta take my hoodie off because that's what you do. do.
So that happened. So we'll see what happens. The Fiend is coming back, and we'll see them go at WrestleMania probably in a big stipulation match. Next thing on the show was the match. Again, Miz, Bobby Lashley WWE Championship. Miz, shows up because if not, he's going to get stripped of the title and Bobby Lashley be awarded the title. So he shows up, and then here comes Shane, makes it a lumberjack match. Interesting thing though, it's a lumberjack match, and you have like Retribution, it's supposed to be not part of like the company against the company, but they come out. And then you have Braun Strowman, he's having all this beef with Shane McMahon. He answers the call of Shane McMahon and comes out for the lumberjack, but whatever. So the match, it was just the demolition of the Miz by Lashley. The entire night, the Miz was just a joke, right? He's just a joke this entire time. It was just a way to get the in-between so that you wouldn't have McIntyre take the loss to Lashley or have him face yet. So, it was what it was. Lashley just destroys him.
Just like that! Here is your winner by submission, and the new WWE...
And it's takeaway number one, because you see behind us the Almighty, the new WWE champion. It's been a long time coming.
It really has.
You look at this guy, and he looks like a champion. Like he's somebody. As soon as he walks in the room, you see this big, massive man, a mean-looking guy too, and he just shows up, and you can tell that this guy is just money. He's always been looking like money. He just never had like the mic skills really to come with it. But with him being the MVP, I think it's really helped him out. The whole Hurt Business build as United States champion, making his way up. He had a little bit of a lackluster part of the beginning of the year when he took on Drew McIntyre a little bit and lost that feud out. Then he became U.S. champ. The build up came after that. So it was really well done. But it's about time. Lashley's champ. Excited about it. The Miz was just a joke. He was just a transitional champion there to kind of just bridge the gap.
Super transitional. Literally 10 days of champ, whatever it was.
And I would recommend, to be honest with you, to do Lashley WWE Championship match, Lashley versus Lesnar at Mania. If they can get Lesnar to come, I would rather see that than Drew versus Lashley. I'd rather see Drew versus Sheamus or some type of match like that in that type of feud, and then have Lashley versus Lesnar. But most likely they won't be able to get Lesnar. If Lesnar comes, they won't do it because they seem to not ever want to do that match. Lashley Lesnar should have happened years ago, but they'll probably end up doing McIntyre Lashley for WWE Championship. But Lashley, you knew WWE champ.
Yeah, good. Congratulations to Lashley. It's well deserved. He's been doing a great job. To think about where he was this time last year with that stupid storyline with Lana and Rusev, and once he found MVP and they got the Hurt Business going, he just got on a roll. And the Hurt Business, because of him as the CEO, has really grown and been one of the hottest things over the last year on Raw. One of the good things to come out of Raw. And Lashley has the look. You see him at an airport. Everybody looks that way. That's kind of Vince McMahon's kind of like way of thinking of the next star. And he puts good work in the ring, has good matches. This was like, a good way just to showcase his power, destroy The Miz. The Miz does a good job of just looking like a big loser. And that's what he had to do. He's a chicken shit heel. We know that he's supposed to be running a coward. So it worked. It served its purpose. And it was entertaining enough out of this crappy show. These little spots that were kind of choppy, but this was it was definitely a little funny, entertaining. And Miz being a chicken shit was like he did such a great job of it. So I enjoyed it. Your versus him versus Lesnar is like, that's a great match. That's something that everybody. I'm not saying it's going to be a great match, but just like two huge giants like that, it's like Godzilla Kong basically. That's basically what that would be like. So that'd be interesting, but I just don't think they're going to go that way. I think they're going to go with McIntyre. I'm not super excited about the match. Hopefully the build is strong. Just feel like Drew winning the title at Mania back-to-back years. I don't know if that's really like something that's really calling my attention. I would have liked Lashley win the belts at beating McIntyre at Mania. I think that would have meant a little more just because we saw it last year. We don't see him back-to-back reigning champion at the end of the night. It doesn't really add. I don't know. It doesn't really excite me.
Yeah, so they could have just kept McIntyre as champ and not have Miz be involved whatsoever, and then done that at the end. But yeah, the Miz did what he had to do. That's what he was there for, and he came. They called him and he showed up, and that's what he was there to do, to be the chicken shit heel, the scumbag heel.
No matter what, he'll always be a two-time champ.
And it's true, no matter how long he holds, he's a two-time champ, two-time Grand Slam champ, the only two-time Grand Slam champ. But last year's WWE champion, excited to see it. The guy deserves it. He's been there a long time. Well, he was there, and then he's gone a long time, and he comes back, and now he's finally on top. So we'll see what happens going. Fastlane is going to be kind of interesting. I'm actually kind of interested to see how Fastlane turns out, because there could be a lot of things going there that may be kind of interesting in the setup to WrestleMania. But yeah, hopefully the build is good. So guys, that's the review we have for you guys today. One takeaway from Monday Night Raw: WWE champion now is Bobby Lashley. Let me in the comment section below what you guys think of Bobby Lashley being champion. Do you want to see McIntyre versus Lashley at WrestleMania? Do you want to see Lashley versus Brock Lesnar? Do you think it's going to happen? Let me know in the comment section below. And how much do you hate The Miz? I don't know. Let me know that too. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Remember, for those who work for you, but do not do the job.
Later, Marks.